Shukhevych in 22 minutes. Welcome to a journey through the shadows of history where truth intertwines with the intrigue of a nation's fight for freedom. Today, we're diving into the enigmatic and contentious world of Roman Shukhevych, a name that echoes with the reverberations of conflict, courage, and controversy. From the secret forests where insurgents whispered rebellion to the silent streets that bore witness to unspeakable acts, we unravel a tale so gripping it will leave you questioning everything you knew about the fight for Ukrainian independence. If you're ready to uncover the layers of a story that's as complex as it is captivating, then don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's embark on this journey together, where history's whispers become the narratives of today. Stay tuned and let the story unfold. Born on June 30th, 1907, in Shukhevych, then part of Austria-Hungary, Shukhevych grew up in a home where intellect and nationalism were nurtured. His father served as a county judge, while his paternal grandfather, Vladimir Josifovich Shukhevych, was a distinguished ethnographer and children's book publisher. Shukhevych's formative years were comfortable, framed by education in prestigious gymnasiums and involvement in scouting. It was in these years that Yevhen Konovalets, leader of an underground Ukrainian military organization and tenant of the Shukhevych family, deeply influenced him. Konovalets' ideology, emphasizing Ukrainian sovereignty at all costs, left an indelible mark on young Shukhevych. At 19, while studying at the Danzig Polytechnic Institute, Shukhevych's life took a dark turn with the murder of Jan Sobinski, a Polish school inspector. This act marked the beginning of his violent path. He continued his studies in civil engineering at the Lviv Polytechnic Institute while actively engaging in the Polish Army and the extremist Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, OUN. He even became the chairman of the Ukrainian Sports Club, showcasing his leadership and dedication to the Ukrainian nationalist cause. The OUN, established in 1929, became notorious under the leadership of Stepan Bandera. It was known for its aggressive tactics against Polish officials, culminating in the assassination of the Polish Interior Minister, Bronislaw Paracki, in retaliation for his oppressive actions against Ukrainian institutions. This assassination, a symbol of the OUN's ruthless methods, led to the arrest and conviction of the involved members in 1936. The German Abwehr had been vigilantly monitoring the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, OUN, since its inception, recognizing its potential as a strategic ally. This collaboration deepened with Hitler's ascent to power, as the Abwehr trained hundreds of OUN militants and provided substantial financial support. Despite this, the Germans maintained a cautious stance, exemplified by their arrest and deportation of Nikolai Lebed, an OUN member, following the assassination of Polish Interior Minister Paracki. As the OUN grew more prominent, it drew the ire of Stalin's regime, leading to the assassination of OUN leader Yevgeny Konovalets in Rotterdam in 1938. This act plunged the OUN into a crisis, exposing deep-seated ideological rifts between its radical faction in Western Ukraine and more moderate members abroad. The new leader, Andrei Melnik, struggled to maintain the unity that Konovalets had commanded. In March 1939, the OUN influenced the declaration of independence for Carpathian Ukraine in Transcarpathia. Yet, this fledgling state was short-lived, crumbling under a Hungarian invasion supported by Poland. The subsequent defeat and persecution of the Carpathian Sich fighters marked a significant blow to the OUN's aspirations. The unfolding events, coupled with shifting Soviet-German dynamics, led to a brief cooling of relations between the OUN and Germany, with the Abwehr even reducing financial aid. However, the Germans quickly reaffirmed their support, signaling a continued interest in leveraging Ukrainian nationalism for their strategic purposes. By mid-April 1939, the Germans facilitated the release of Ukrainian nationalists from Hungarian captivity, integrating them into the Ukrainian Legion to participate in the Polish campaign, underlining the complex and often opportunistic nature of the OUN-German relationship. In August 1939, Andriy Melnik officially became the leader of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, OUN, succeeding the assassinated Konovalets. His leadership, initially met with resistance, was solidified in the absence of his primary rival, Stepan Bandera, who was imprisoned for terrorist activities against Poland. However, Bandera's dramatic escape from Brest prison during the German invasion of Poland marked a significant turn. He redirected the OUN's focus against the Soviet Union, mobilizing thousands of members and sympathizers for an uprising in Galicia and Volhynia. At this juncture, the OUN was deeply fractured. Melnik's faction advocated for an alliance with the Third Reich, while Bandera's faction pushed for an independent armed underground ready to engage in guerrilla warfare against any oppressor, including the Nazis. Their sole agreement was on the USSR as their principal foe. The Bandera-led faction, operating from Krakow, independently mobilized its members, an action that led to significant NKVD crackdowns and arrests, highlighting the dangerous covert operations of nationalist movements. By the end of 1939, the OUN had undergone significant transformations. It confirmed the formation of the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, UPA, and identified its main adversaries, the Nazis, Poles, and Soviet partisans. This period also saw a power shift within the OUN, with Nikolai Lebed ousted for his authoritarian leadership during a key meeting in May 1943. This led to the rise of the Bureau of the Wire, with Zinovy Matler, Dmitry Maivsky, and Roman Shukhevych at the helm. Shukhevych's ascent marked a critical juncture. He held three pivotal roles: head of the OUN, commander of the UPA, and secretary of the UGVR, indicating a potential ideological shift from the organization's extreme right-wing rhetoric. However, the actual implications of this shift remained obscured by the unfolding events. In a significant organizational reshuffle, the OUN's regional guide to the ZUs, Mikhail Stepanyak, was replaced by Vasil Okrimovich, indicating ongoing strategic and leadership changes within the organization. Before the Third Conference of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, OUN, Taras Borovets' Ukrainian Insurgent Army, UPA detachments were already active in the forests. Distinct from the OUN, Borovets' group resisted participating in mass violence against Poles, a stance that hindered any potential alliance with the OUN, especially given the atrocities attributed to Bandera's faction. By early 1943, the UPA's ranks significantly expanded, with an influx of 4,000 to 6,000 auxiliary police officers and later, deserters from German units and integrated forces from both Borovets and the OUN's detachments. These additions roughly constituted half of the UPA by year's end. During this period, Germany was forming the 14th SS Grenadier Division Galicia and the Ukrainian Liberation Army, drawing primarily from Galician volunteers and Eastern Ukrainian prisoners of war. The OUN's reaction was divided. While some leaders, including Shukhevych, viewed this as an opportunity for military training, others were opposed. The resulting compromise was a public denunciation of the division while covertly infiltrating it with their members. Survivors from the division later significantly bolstered the UPA's ranks after the Battle of Brody. In May 1943, the main UPA team was established under Vasily Ivakhiv, and following his death, Dmitry Klyachkivsky assumed command. Under Klyachkivsky, the armed units of the independent Derzhavniki were officially renamed the Ukrainian Insurgent Army at the end of May 1943. The UPA continued to evolve structurally, establishing a military field gendarmerie and a security service in June 1943. By early August, the UPA was divided into two main groups, UPA South and UPA North. Subsequent to the third extraordinary large gathering of the OUN, the organization underwent a major reorganization to accommodate its growing numbers, leading to the formation of additional groups and further solidifying the UPA's presence and operational capacity. On August 27, 1943, a transformative decree by the main team of the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, UPA, instituted military ranks and designations, with all members henceforth referred to as Cossacks. This period also saw voluntary forced mobilization of males in UPA-controlled regions, reflecting the group's expanding influence and need for manpower. By the spring and early summer of 1944, the UPA reached its peak strength with an estimated 25,000 to 30,000 armed fighters. The composition was predominantly Galician, with significant numbers from Volyn, Polesi, and a smaller contingent from the Dnieper region. This diverse makeup underscored the UPA's broad regional influence. Geographical expansion was also a key focus. In July 1944, the Bukovina Ukrainian Self-Defense Army was formed and later integrated into the UPA West. Transcarpathia, under Hungarian control until 1944, joined the UPA structure in 1945 after intermittent raids by the UPA following the expulsion of Hungarian forces. The late 1940s brought to light references of Jewish individuals participating in the UPA, particularly in medical roles. From spring 1943, it seems the UPA utilized the skills of Jewish people, a move driven by practicality amidst the harsh realities of war. However, the tragic fate of many Jewish individuals during this time, often at the hands of the security service forces, cannot be overlooked. Notably, the scale of these atrocities was largely concealed from regular UPA members. In the 1950s, UPA publications included mentions and memoirs of Stella Krenzbach, a Jewish woman purportedly involved with the UPA and later the Israeli Foreign Ministry. Subsequent investigations, however, suggested that Stella's story might have been a fabricated element of UPA propaganda. Returning to the personal narrative, there was a softer side amidst the turmoil, a talent for playing the piano. Joining the Yevgeny Revelers Quartet, later Lviv Revelers, in 1928, this passion for music provided a stark contrast to the brutal realities of war and resistance. Tragically, this personal life was marred by the loss of a younger brother, Yuri, who was a soloist in the same quartet and lost his life during the turbulent events in Lviv in June 1941. In the summer and autumn of 1930, a daring anti-Polish sabotage operation unfolded in Krakowicz, aimed at destabilizing Polish authority through targeted attacks on officials. Accusations pointed towards involvement in high-profile assassination attempts, including those on Polish Sejm ambassador Tadeusz Golauko and police commissioner Emilian Chekhov. The latter's murder on March 22, 1932, was notably executed by Yuri Berezinski, who later became a brother-in-law. Chekhov, known for his relentless pursuit of the Ukrainian underground and his alignment with Polish interests despite his Ukrainian heritage, was targeted by the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, OUN, as a symbol of betrayal. His assassination by Berezinski was not just an act of retribution, but also a statement of the OUN's resolve in their struggle for Ukrainian independence. This period was marked by intense underground activity and violent reprisals. Despite being arrested in April 1932 for suspected affiliation with the Ukrainian military organization, UVO, release soon followed due to insufficient evidence. Meanwhile, Berezinski and other OUN members continued their campaign, launching a bold attack on the Polish post office on November 30, 1932. This team, including Dmitry Danilishin, Vasily Bilas, Marian Jurakowski, and others, was well prepared and strategically organized into groups, each with a specific task to disrupt, disable, and dominate. However, reality often diverges from plan. As the masked attackers converged on the post office from various directions, they encountered unexpected resistance. Contrary to their intelligence, the postal employees were armed and ready, turning what was intended to be a swift, decisive strike into a chaotic confrontation. This incident not only underscores the volatile nature of the resistance movement, but also highlights the unpredictable challenges faced by those engaged in clandestine warfare. The post office raid escalated quickly into a violent encounter, As the team entered and ordered everyone to raise their hands, they were met with unexpected gunfire. Some accounts suggest Berezynski initiated the shooting, managing to control 5 postal workers. Amidst the chaos, Dmitry Danilishin shot at the cash register door, enabling Vasily Bilas to enter through the broken window and seize the money. The heist swiftly turned into a firefight as Bilas and Danilishin made their escape, signaling the rest of the group to withdraw. As they fled, they were met with shots from nearby houses. In this perilous moment, Berezynski sustained a grave injury. Faced with the grim prospect of capture, he chose to end his life rather than risk capture by the Polish authorities. Following these turbulent events, life briefly returned to a semblance of normality with completion of engineering studies and a stint at a construction company. However, the pursuit of a more peaceful career was short-lived, with the establishment of an advertising bureau interrupted by arrest over the assassination attempt on Polish Interior Minister Bronislaw Paracki. The resulting trial in 1935 led to a 4-year prison sentence. Released in 1938, under a general amnesty, the journey continued to Germany for military training at the Munich Military Academy. This period was marked by organizing anti-Polish and anti-Hungarian demonstrations in Lviv, which led to a brief arrest. As 1939 dawned, the focus shifted to the formation of the Carpathian Sich, another paramilitary Ukrainian nationalist organization. This new venture was fueled through various means, including robberies aimed at amassing firearms and ammunition for the nationalist cause. This period marked a continued commitment to the Ukrainian nationalist movement, undeterred by previous setbacks and driven by a relentless pursuit of an independent Ukrainian state. From September 1939, Roman Shukhevych focused on organizing armed resistance in the western Ukrainian territories that had recently separated from the Soviet Union. Despite Ukrainian nationalists' hopes for German support in forming a national army, they had to accept the formation of the Nachtigall Battalion, where Shukhevych served as the Ukrainian deputy commander. In June 1941, the Nachtigall Battalion, along with the Brandenburg Regiment, advanced into Lviv before the main German forces. This led to a violent pogrom against the city's Polish and Jewish residents, resulting in thousands of brutal deaths. The Ukrainian militia, formed with Shukhevych's support, actively participated in these horrific acts. As the battalion moved eastward, it continued engaging in combat and specifically targeting individuals of Jewish descent. On June 30th, 1941, Shukhevych commanded his fighters to seize Lviv and carry out the extermination of nearly 4,000 Jews and Poles. This operation earned him recognition from Ernst Kaltenbrunner, a high-ranking SS official. By 1942, Shukhevych had become the deputy commander of the 201st Security Battalion, also known as the Ukrainian Legion, under SS Obergruppenführer Erich von dem Bach. Stationed in Belarus for 9 months, this unit was implicated in the deaths of over 2,000 Soviet partisans. The unit's brutal actions incited outrage and assassination attempts against Shukhevych by Belarusian nationalists. He is also associated with the orchestration of the Volhynia massacre. Despite holding an SS Hauptmann rank, the factions Shukhevych led fought against both the Red Army and the Wehrmacht as the war progressed. Ukrainian nationalists, including Shukhevych, regarded the Nazis as a temporary, albeit preferable, alternative to the Bolsheviks, considered the true occupiers of their homeland. In January 1944, Shukhevych was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, UPA, later deemed extremist in Russia. Despite World War II's end, his forces continued sabotage activities in the Lviv, Ternopil, and Ivano-Frankivsk regions until 1948. However, by September 3, 1949, the UPA combat units officially ceased resistance against the Soviet government. The war crimes attributed to the OUN UPA leadership had severe repercussions for Shukhevych and his family. His sister and wife were sentenced to long terms in correctional labor camps, his elderly mother was imprisoned, and his father was exiled, leading to his death. After his mother's arrest, his children, Yuri and Maria, were placed in an orphanage. Despite these hardships, many of his relatives lived long lives. His sister Natalia survived until 2010, and his son Yuri, after 3 decades in prison, lived to 89 and served as a People's Deputy of Ukraine. Yuri also led the UNSO from 1990 to 1994, passing away in November 2022. At the time of Yuri's death, Shukhevych's daughter Maria was still alive. Shukhevych's life ended on March 5, 1950, in a village that later became part of Lviv, succumbing to a bullet wound during an operation by the Ministry of State Security. The circumstances of his death remain mysterious, and none of the participants received official Soviet state awards. His body was cremated and the ashes scattered. In the centenary year of his birth, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko posthumously awarded Shukhevych the title of Hero of Ukraine, though this honor was later revoked by a court decision in 2010. The Post of Ukraine issued a stamp with his photograph, and several Ukrainian cities have streets and avenues named in his honor, commemorating his leadership of the OUN and UPA. These recognitions and commemorations reflect the complex legacy and lasting impact of Shukhevych's life and actions. As we close the chapter on Roman Shukhevych's tumultuous saga, we're left pondering the echoes of the past that still resonate in our present. The line between hero and villain blurs in the fog of war and ideology, reminding us that history is not just about the events, but the people who shape them. What are your thoughts on this complex figure and the turbulent times he navigated? Were his actions justified by his quest for freedom, or do they cast a long shadow over his legacy? If this deep dive into the heart of Ukrainian history has ignited your curiosity or stirred your emotions, join the conversation in the comments below. Your perspectives enrich our journey through the past. Don't forget to hit like if you've been captivated by this tale of intrigue and resistance, and subscribe to ensure you never miss an opportunity to explore the hidden corridors of history with us. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep the spirit of exploration alive. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next adventure through time.